Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashoda Nandana Prajajana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Prajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Manachari Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashoda Nandana Prajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Manachari Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Oh. There's nothing on it? Huh.
Only
Oh. Okay, something's not connected right there. Is this connected?
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
No.
Now, stop.
Okay, these wires are not connecting properly. Is this okay now?
No.
Oh.
Maybe here. Maybe here.
No, everything should be connected. One's the power, and one's the for the video. Oh. No, this is for the camera. So then,
Nothing. No contact. Maybe here. Setting.
no, it
No?
should be this. That screen should show exactly what's on here, on the screen.
No, but it's on and then it go back like again.
Oh,
No
maybe
signal. It's saying no signal.
maybe start now.
Go to
Refresh
the power
this
settings,
side.
something like this.
If I leave, then I won't be able to connect again.
Yeah, leave, finish, and
Yeah, but no, if I leave here, then it'll throw the whole thing off. Still no? Okay. Because we're streaming this too. Those who are watching from the stream will see this. For as far as chanting the verse, we can do it from here. And those who are watching the stream should see this. I'm not sure. Okay, maybe something find it. The online database. You can find it. 1896
1,
8
8.
9 6. Yeah? Just go to the online database, and then we can go from there. And then find the 8th canto, 7th chapter. So, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we're reading from the Srimad-bhagavatam. Actually, I don't even have the Srimad-bhagavatam here. We're reading from the Srimad-bhagavatam, 8th canto, chapter 7, text number 22. Here, there we go. Yeah. Here. Okay. That's the verse right there. Okay. Tvam eka sarva jagata Ishvaro bandha mokshayo Tang tvam archanti kushala Prapanarti harangurum Tvam eka sarva jagata Ishvara bandha mokshayo Tang tvam archanti kushala Prapanarti harangurum Tvam eka sarva jagata Ishvaro bandha mokshayo Tang tvam archanti kushala Prapanarti harangurum Tvam eka sarva jagata Ishvaro bandha mokshayo Marchanti kushala Prapanarti harangurum Tvam eka sarva jagata Ishvaro bandha mokshayo Tang tvam archanti kushala Prapanarti harangurum Tvam eka sarva jagata Ishvaro bandha mokshayo Tang tvam archanti kushala Prapanarti harangurum. Word for word synonyms. Tvam eka. Your Lordship is indeed. Sarva jagata. Of the three worlds. Ishwaraha. The controller. Bandha mokshayo. Of both bondage and liberation. Tam, that controller. Tvam archanti, worship you. Kushalaha, persons who want good fortune. Prapana arti haram, who can mitigate all the distresses of a sheltered devotee. Guru, you who act as a good advisor to all fallen souls. Translation. O Lord, you are the cause of bondage and liberation of the entire universe, because you are its ruler. Those who are advanced in spiritual consciousness surrender unto you, and therefore you are the cause of mitigating their distresses. And you are also the cause of their liberation. We therefore worship your Lordship. Repeat after me. O Lord, You are the cause of bondage
You are the cause of bondage
and liberation
and liberation
of the entire universe,
of the entire universe,
because you are its ruler.
because you are its ruler.
Those who are advanced in spiritual consciousness
Those who are advanced in spiritual consciousness
surrender unto you,
surrender unto you,
and therefore
and therefore
you are the cause
you are the cause
of mitigating their distresses,
of mitigating the distress.
and you are also the cause
You are also the cause
of their liberation.
of their liberation.
We therefore worship your Lordship.
We therefore worship your Lordship.
Okay, can I borrow my... I don't have the book here either. Purport. Actually, Lord Vishnu maintains and accomplishes all good fortune. If one has to take shelter of Lord Vishnu, why should the demigods take shelter of Lord Shiva? They did so because Lord Vishnu acts through Lord Shiva in the creation of the material world. Lord Shiva acts on behalf of Lord Vishnu. When the Lord says in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 14, verse 4, that He is the Father of all living entities, Ahang bija prada pita. This refers to actions performed by Lord Vishnu through Lord Shiva. Lord Vishnu is always unattached to material activities, and when material activities are to be performed, Lord Vishnu performs them through Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva is therefore worshipped on the level of Lord Vishnu. When Lord Vishnu is untouched by external energy, he is Lord Vishnu. But when he is in touch with the external energy, he appears in his feature as Lord Shiva. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gnana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So they're actually praying to Lord Shiva here, but they're praying to him as though he's God. And Lord Shiva's position actually is unique. It's unique. He's Shiva Tattva. There are unlimited Jiva Tattvas, as us, little tiny spirit souls that are completely dependent on the Lord. And there's Vishnu Tattva, which are all the Lord and all his incarnations. So that's Vishnu Tattva. And then there's Shiva Tattva, who is Lord Shiva. So Lord Krishna is always transcendental to he's transcendental to everything. But when he has to act, or there's a need for someone to act, on the level of working directly with the material nature, creation, destruction, and so on, then the Lord, especially in the case of destruction, Lord Shiva or Lord Vishnu manifest as like Lord Shiva, so Lord Shiva is like Vishnu in contact with the material energy, and there's an analogy given comparing the two. So the analogy is just like milk. Just like milk can be transformed into yogurt, so Lord Vishnu can transform or manifest himself as Lord Shiva. So Lord Vishnu can he can transform or manifest himself as Lord Shiva, but Lord Shiva cannot go back and become Vishnu. Just like milk can become yogurt, but you can't. There's no way you're going to make yogurt turn back into milk, right? But otherwise, it's all milk. Milk is yogurt is another form of transformation of yogurt. Is a transformation of milk, and so and the Lord actually the Lord here is. He's having the demigods go to Lord Shiva, but of course the Lord knows that he empowers Lord Shiva to do what he does. Like all the demigods, not just Lord Shiva, all the demigods, the controlling demigods, are empowered by the Lord to do particular functions. So in that sense, they're all like Shaktivesh avatars in that sense. They're empowered to do something. The sun god, the moon god, like that. We hear about in mythology, Greek mythology, and other kinds of mythology. They have their sun god, their moon god, their rain god, like that. So we also have. And for the most part, those in our understanding, in Vedic understanding, is that for the most part, all those demigods are ordinary living beings, but they have been specifically empowered, given the Shakti, to do a particular function, extraordinary function. You can imagine the sun god. He's making the sun move in a certain pattern, in a certain path. It's described in more detail in the 5th canto of Srimad-bhagavatam. But he's making the sun move in a certain path, a very exact path. So such an exact path that for about millions, billions, trillions of years, he never deviates from this path. But it says that he's doing this job or this service it actually says out of fear of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So he's a living entity, but he knows he's got his duty, and he's been empowered to carry out that duty, the sun god. Same thing with the moon, and same thing with Lord Indra takes care of the rain and a lot of the weather. We see the hurricane comes our way, go talk to Lord Indra. Of course, he's just sending what his people in general have this karma coming, hurricanes and tornadoes that are constantly a problem, especially this time of year. So but they're empowered by Lord Vishnu to carry out these particular functions, and they are. And if they don't perform their function properly, then of course the Lord will come and try to correct them. Lord Brahma, sometimes he messes up. He stole the cows and the cowherd boys from Krishna when he was out playing. So, but we actually take these as these are great special personalities. They're empowered by the Lord. So sometimes they act in certain ways that are, we would say, are wrong. But we can't really criticize them because they're really empowered souls. But they act sometimes in an improper way to ultimately to help prove that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Or Brahma stole the cows and the cowherd boys, hid them away for a moment of his time, which was a year on earth time, but very quickly he realized, or he proved, and of course we have the written proof, the Srimad-bhagavatam, that that when he did that, the Lord immediately expanded himself as all those cows and all those cowherd boys, and did everything perfectly. And the Lord Brahma comes back and realizes he made a big mistake. He offers so many nice prayers, and then it just further proves Krishna's position as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, which was Lord Brahma in the end was actually just assisting in that way to help us who will hear about these pastimes, later on, like as we are hearing, that we will hear about it and be educated in that way. Lord Indra did the same thing. He tried to Shri Radha Bhaja Bihari Jagannath Balaram Lady Subhadra Wanda Shrigade Prahlad Maharaj. Lord Indra did the same thing. When Krishna made him angry by convincing all the cowherd men to, instead of worshiping Lord Indra one year, he convinced them to take all your worshiping paraphernalia, all your offerings for Lord Indra, and just offer it to Govardhan Hill, and that'll please the cows, that'll please the brahmanas, and that'll please Govardhan Hill. So he convinced them. Krishna was a very little child, but he was very convincing in his arguments. So they followed. But Lord Indra didn't like that. Because the demigods depend on their offerings that are being offered to them. This sacrifice was a very big thing for Lord Indra. So he not forgetting or not realizing at the moment who Krishna actually was, he thought he would punish everyone and kill everyone with his rain cloud. So he was empowered. He had that ability to make that. But in the end, all it did was to again show that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because when Krishna, when Lord Indra caused the wind and the rain and the flooding and all that, and he said you could not see the difference between the high land and the low land, because the lower lands were already covered. So he made this, he lifted the Govardhan Hill with his little finger, held it there for 7 days, and it saved everyone. And when Lord Indra saw what he actually did, Lord Indra had no potency, then of course he had to come back and again offer his prayers and so much worship of Krishna. And again, it just further proved Krishna's position, like that. But anyway, all their abilities have been given to them by the Lord. And that's what I have to say about this one. I may just go to the next verse. Gunamaya swasaktasya sarga stit yapyayam vivo datse yada swadrig bhuman Brahma Vishnu Shiva Bidam. O Lord, you are self-effulgent and supreme. You create this material world by your personal energy, and you assume the names Brahma, Vishnu, and Maheshwar when you act in creation, maintenance, and annihilation. This prayer is actually offered to Lord Vishnu, the Purusha, who in his incarnations as the Guna avatars assumes the names of Brahma, Vishnu, and Maheshwar. Maheshwar is the name of Lord Shiva. So again, emphasizing that these demigods have great powers, but they've been specifically empowered by the Supreme Lord. And if the Supreme Lord wants to take away their powers or overcome their powers, he has no difficulty at all in doing this. In the next translation, you are the cause of all causes, the self-effulgent, inconceivable, impersonal Brahman, which is originally Para Brahman. You manifest various potencies in this cosmic manifestation. Purport. This prayer is offered to the impersonal Brahman, which consists of the effulgent rays of Para-Brahman. Para-Brahman is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Parang Brahma, Parang Dhamma, Pavitram, Paramang Bhavan. When Lord Shiva is worshipped as Para-Brahman, the worship is meant for Lord Vishnu. Lord Shiva again is representing Lord Vishnu. And next translation, O Lord, you are the original source of Vedic literature. You are the original cause of the material creation, the life force, the senses, the 5 elements, the 3 modes, and the Mahatattva. Your eternal time and determination and the 2 religious systems called truth, Satya, and truthfulness, Ritta. You are the shelter of the syllable Om, which consists of 3 letters, A-U-M. And there's no purport. Next translation. O Father of all planets, learned scholars, know that fire is your mouth, the surface of the globe is your lotus feet, eternal time is your movement, all the directions are your ears, and Varuna, the master of waters, is your tongue. Purport. In this Shruti mantras, it is said, Agni Sarva Devata. Fire is the aggregate of all demigods. Agni is the mouth of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is through Agni, or fire, that the Lord accepts all sacrificial oblations. Just like when we do a fire sacrifice. So it's understood that the fire is the Lord's manifesting is the mouth. We're offering grains, we're offering ghee into the fire, and we're chanting different prayers, and so we're actually feeding the Lord through the fire. That's what's one method here. Here we feed the Lord by putting something on a nice plate and offering. But in a fire sacrifice, you're feeding the Lord by throwing ghee and grains into the fire, which is where the Lord's mouth is being manifest. Yes, Krishna's all aspects. Next translation, all these purports are either there are no purports or they're very short. O Lord, the sky is your navel, the air is your breathing, the sun is your eyes, and the water is your semen. You are the shelter of all kinds of living entities, high and low. The god of the moon is your mind, and the upper planetary system is your head. O Lord, you are the 3 Vedas personified. The 7 seas are your abdomen, and the mountains are your bones. All drugs, creepers, and vegetables are the hairs on your body. And the Vedic mantras like Gayatri are the 7 layers of your body, and the Vedic religious system is the core of your heart. This is referring to, there's a chapter in, where is it? It's the second canto, I believe. Purusha Sukta confirmed. Anyway, it's describing, basically it's an imaginary form, where one who cannot yet conceive of the Lord in a personal form. You know, how can God be personal? So if one cannot conceive of the Lord in a real personal form and try to develop devotion for Him that way, so you see the Lord. You try to imagine the Lord. You try to imagine God as in terms of different aspects of the material energy. The sun, or the sun and the moon, sometimes it says, are the eyes of this form. It mentions here the mountains are the bones. That's mentioned there. I think the veins are the rivers. Anyway, all things that we see in nature, one can think in terms of this supreme as being parts of the material energy, the material nature. But this is not really for us who are practicing Krishna consciousness and are we see the form of the Lord, the form of the deity. So but for someone who can't even perceive or cannot even conceive of God having a personal form at all, then this is a certain kind of meditation. There's something superior to me. That is, there's something superior to me. That is, and the sun and the moon. It's like we cannot see without our eyes. So without the light from the sun and the moon, we wouldn't be able to see, especially the sun. There's no light. Everything would be dark. I'm sure in the purports of that section, Prabhupada goes into a lot more detail. But what's being described here is also described elsewhere earlier in the Srimad-bhagavatam. Another translation. O Lord, the 5 important Vedic mantras are represented by your 5 faces. So they're speaking to Lord Shiva. So Lord Shiva a lot of times has 5 heads, from which the 38 most celebrated Vedic mantras have been generated. Your Lordship being celebrated as Lord Shiva is self-illuminated. You are directly situated as supreme truth known as Paramatma. There is a purport here. I'll read it and we'll... The 5 mantras mentioned in this connection are as follows. 1. Purusha. 2. Aghora. 2. Sadyojata. 4. Vamanadev. And 5. Ishana. These 5 mantras are within the category of 38 special Vedic mantras chanted by Lord Shiva, who is therefore celebrated as Shiva or Mahadeva. Another reason why Lord Shiva is called Lord Shiva, which means all auspicious, is that he is self-illuminated, exactly like Lord Vishnu, who is the Paramatma. Because Lord Shiva is directly an incarnation of Lord Vishnu, he is situated as Lord Vishnu's direct representative. This fact is corroborated by a Vedic mantra, Pating Vishvayat Me Maheshwaram Shashvatam Shivam Achutam. The Supersoul is called by many names, of which Maheshwar, Shiva, and Achyuta are especially mentioned. I'll read one more verse, and if there's any questions, then we'll ask. O Lord, your shadow is seen in religion. No, I'm sorry. Your shadow is seen in irreligion, which brings about varieties of irreligious creations. The three modes of nature, goodness, passion, and ignorance, are your three eyes. All the Vedic literatures, which are full of verses, are emanations from you, because their compilers wrote the various scriptures after receiving your glance. O Lord Girisha, since the impersonal Brahman effulgence is transcendental to the material modes of goodness, passion, and ignorance, the various directions of this material world certainly cannot appreciate it or even know where it is. It is not understandable even to Lord Brahma, Lord Vishnu, or the King of Heaven, Mahendra. Oh, and there's a long purport, so we probably should not go into that right now because we're at the end. So we'll start tomorrow on this verse, which will be verse number 31. 31, chapter 22. Yeah. Any questions?
Actually, the Lord Shiva that we have in this material world, it is a manifestation of Sada Shiva. Sada means always eternal. And that Sada Shiva is a form of Shiva, that is a Vishnu form, that is the right man. So Sada Shiva, eternal Shiva. That Shiva never disappears. So the word Shiva means all of things, all good. So
All auspicious.
and that manifestation you have to take that. You don't have to say that eternal Shiva manifests in the world. And usually the Shiva, that is a transformation, is usually known by the name Canto. Advaita Acharya, the companion of Lord Chaitanya, is actually a combination of Mahavishnu with Sadashiva.
And Advaita Acharya, which is Lord Shiva, is...
Sadashiva, not Shankar Shiva, Sadashiva.
Yeah.
And Mahavishnu, a combination of both. And in that form, he lives eternally in association with Lord Chaitanya, in eternal knowledge, Nitya knowledge.
As Advaita Acharya. Good, thank you. Questions?
So today, all these verses were the words of demigods to Lord Shiva.
Yes.
But did they understand that we representing Vishnu, or
They understand that they understand his position. He's basically very much empowered by Lord Vishnu. So they're just like we say, spiritual master is good as God. He's representing God. So Lord Shiva is empowered empowered by Lord Vishnu. So they're seeing that empowerment, they're seeing that Shakti in him. So they're praying to him just like Lord Vishnu because they understand his position. Yes, Lord Shiva is and that same Lord Shiva shortly will drink an ocean of poison, which no ordinary living entity could do. Does that answer your question?
well, it's very interesting because if also in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna saying that sun and moon are his eyes, right? also mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, and here they're repeating that. Like, that in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is saying that sun and moon are his eyes.
Yeah.
And here they're repeating that. They're saying, they're mentioning that
Yes.
when they say that the mountains are the rose and the sun and the moon are your eyes, and vegetation is like your hair, right?
Yes.
So, but among them are also the demigod sun, right? Surya and
Chandra.
Chandra, there. So, like trying to understand, they're saying that we are your eyes, or they're referring to the actual planet, because they are the ones who are ruling that planet.
Yeah. So when they say, when Krishna says, or they're referring to the sun and the moon are your eyes, like they're referring specifically to it's called the universal form, or it's a kind of a universal form, which is not a there's no real monstrous personal form that has a sun and moon as the eyes. This is a meditation, as I mentioned to you a little while ago. It's a meditation. You try to understand the Supreme. If you can't understand Krishna in a personal form like this, then you're understanding the Supreme by here's the sun, which is way beyond our comprehension. Okay, that's the one eye. The moon also is way beyond our comprehension, but that's the other eye. So we're trying to relate these great, powerful manifestations of the material energy, and we're trying to see that in a personal way, in that way. So that's and they're doing the same thing here too. They're recognizing that the sun and the moon are in this universal form are very powerful, and they're part of the Lord's universal form body, which is really for us it's not an eternal form. It's actually just basically it's an imaginary form. There's no pastimes or anything like that the Lord is there with the sun and the moon and like that. So only it's a manifestation of course Krishna showed this universal form on the battle of Kurukshetra, right? The sun and the moon and all these things were described there. He showed everything. He showed the entire material existence, everything in that universal form. But we don't hear about any interactions and pastimes of the universal form doing anything. It's something that Krishna manifested. He did it, and he manifested that, at least at the time of Arjuna, he manifested that. Arjuna actually wanted him to. Why? Because someone comes along and says, well, actually I'm God. I'm really God. And all these other people have been lying to you, but I'm really God. So then you can say, okay, God, that's fine. Can you show me your universal form? And of course they would probably say, I can show you, but you're not able to see it. Well, if you were God, you gave Arjuna the ability to see it. So therefore, you should give me the ability, and then I'll believe that you're God. And of course, they can't do that because they're not God, like that. Give you divine eyes. So Krishna had to give the specific ability to Arjuna to be able to see this universal form, which is actually a terrifying form. You see the whole material energy, and you see everyone being born and everyone being dying and being killed, and and all the demigods. To imagine everything that goes on in the universe over time, and you're seeing all that at one time in front of you. It would be terrifying.
Arjuna was a very brave warrior, and when he saw it, he started shaking, saying, no, please take that away from me. I'm shaking.
Yeah, Arjuna found it very, very difficult to look at this, and then he asked the Lord to first he showed his back to his four-armed Vishnu form, and then of course to the two-armed form, which Arjuna was more familiar with, his friend Krishna. So he showed these different forms, but he did show the universal form, so that that if somebody claimed to be God, we could always challenge him like that. Okay, you show me this universal form, and give me the divine eyes so that I can actually see it, if you're actually God. Otherwise, I'm not going to believe you.
Those verses, the scholars call them identity verses. Verses by which you can identify and perceive God in material nature. The sun, the moon, the trees, just meditating in God's material nature to identity verses.
And we can also appreciate these things. I mean, you see a beautiful sunrise, you think, oh, this sun is like an eye, Krishna's eye. Then hopefully our mind will go to Krishna in this.
About God.
Yes.
I have one more question.
Yes.
So, I never saw Shiva on altar, right?
Right.
I don't know if, but I know that there is another branch in Vedic
Yes.
worshipping, what they call Shivaitas, or somehow. Shivaitas, yes, they only worship Lord Shiva.
Mm-hmm.
So, first question, I understand that I heard that we respect Lord Shiva as a pure devotee, right? So in Gaudiya Vaishnavism, they recognize Shiva as a pure devotee. But we never ever put it on the altar, or
No, not in our ISKCON temples. Why? Well, Shiva is also a demigod.
yes,
And we specifically avoid worshiping demigods. People, the temples that have Lord Shiva on their altar, they're worshiping him for some material reason. They're not going to Lord Shiva saying, "Oh, please bless me that I can become a devotee of Lord Krishna." It's not the mood. Lord Shiva is known as Ashatosh. So, which means you can do something and you please him very easily. You can get your material things very easily, and you can mess up and you can get yourself in a lot of trouble too, because he's easy to please. But if you do it wrong, or then you can ruin your whole life. But that's demigod worship. So we don't worship Lord Shiva like that. We do respect him. We do respect him as a demigod. We do respect him as a devotee, actually, of Krishna. So he's a very, very special personality. But we don't put him on our altar in that form, because in our line we worship specifically these particular deities. Jagannath, Balaram, Subhadra, Krishna, Balaram, and Subhadra, Radha Krishna, Gaura-Nitai, of course, and of course we have our Srila Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta on our altar, because as at least two of our big acharyas, and of course the pictures of in addition we have the pictures of Gorkha Babaji, Jagannath, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and then Jagannath Das Babaji on our altars. So this is how our altars are set up. We wouldn't put demigods on our altar because people, if they came here, they would be worshiping, it would be for the purpose of worshiping the demigods for material things, and everything we do here is all centered around bhakti yoga. We're not interested. In fact, if you're worshiping the demigods, or if you're splitting your worship between Krishna and the demigods, then you won't be able to advance very quickly, because demigod worship is all about trying to get some kind of material benefits. To get sense gratification, some kind of material benefit you're looking for. And Krishna says in second canto, I don't remember which chapter, one of the first one or two chapters, there's several verses where it's described like, okay, if you want this thing, this kind of benefit, you worship this demigod, you want this one, you worship that demigod, you want this one, you get this. There's several demigods mentioned in worship you can do, but it's followed by a famous verse, akama sarva kama va moksha kama udaradi tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusham puram. It means akama, if you have no material desires, you worship Krishna. If you have all material desires, you worship Krishna. Don't go to the demigods, you worship Krishna. Akama sarva kama va moksha kama. If you desire, even if you desire impersonal liberation, moksha, then you worship Krishna. And what's the other? Akama sarva kama va moksha kama udaradi. So no matter what you want, material desires, all material desires, no material desires, even the desire for liberation, what do? You worship Krishna, and the result will be that if you have material desires, he might give them to you, but he also may purify you so the desires go away. But ultimately, worshiping Krishna means he'll help you become Krishna conscious. Worshiping the demigods, you get your material desires, but you'll just keep having those material desires. You'll never be satisfied with it, like that.
Yeah, when you get that desire, right? I mean, when you get that what you're asking for from demigods, it can even bring you down, right? Because you can get too proud, or you can commit some offenses, right? So it will actually
yes,
send you to a path of degradation.
It tends to do that. Yes, it tends to do that. So rather than worshiping the demigods, we go straight to Krishna, and even if we have material desires, Krishna will either help us to get them, or help to purify us of them. And in the process, we were becoming, increasing our devotion for Krishna, which is really the goal.
Yeah, I noticed that I have less things that I want since I've been practicing.
Yes.
The pace is changed. The pace to
that's right.
How to spend time, how to.
So the process works.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I'm.
Usually the picture of Shiva is like a blue, and that's wrong. Actually, Lord Shiva is the color of Radharani. He's golden and he's blonde also. The only part of his body that is blue is the throat.
The neck.
That's why they call his name is Nilakanta, blue throat, because there is where he keeps the poison that he drank. He drank the poison, he kept it in his throat. He didn't swallow. And the poison is so powerful that his throat became blue. And that's why one of his names is Nilakanta, blue throat. He is a gold, he's blonde, like a Russian.